I just had a hell of a session playing Silksong, and now I need to relax before going to bed. And we're gonna do that by playing some Clues by Sam for today. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a logic puzzle where you have 20 people on the board, and each of those people may give you a clue to help identify who's a criminal and who's an innocent among all of them. And you gotta figure out who's who without doing any guesses, just following the clues. And the difficulty for today is tricky. So this is gonna be interesting. Let's start now. We have Isaac telling us that only one of the two criminals neighboring Nick is Eric's neighbor. Eric is here and Nick is here. So the only neighbors that Eric and Nick have in common are Isaac and Jane. Isaac is an innocent, and the only other one that can be a criminal is Jane. And Eric has another criminal neighbor among these three people. Now, we don't need this clue anymore, but it does tell us that there's one more criminal between Eric's neighbors, so I'm gonna leave it there. Now, Jane is telling us that Freya is one of two innocents below Barb. So Freya is an innocent, and another one of these people is an innocent, either Paul or Wanda. Now, Freya is telling us that there's an odd number of criminals in column B. Here's column B, and we know that there is 2 innocents and 2 criminals among these 4 people. So Barb has to be a criminal in order for the number to be odd. Now we don't need this clue anymore. Now Barb's telling us that Tom has more innocent than criminal neighbors. Where's Tom? Tom? Oh, Tom's down here. And he has 3 neighbors and more innocent than criminal neighbors. What does that tell us? We know that Paul and Wanda are 1 innocent and 1 criminal. So in order for there to be more innocence here, Nick has to be an innocent too. And we don't need this clue anymore. Now Nick's telling us that Tom and Zoe have an equal number of innocent neighbors. So Zoe has 2 innocent neighbors. What do we do with that? What do we do with that? Isaac's telling us that only one of the 2 criminals neighboring Nick is Eric's neighbor. And Freya is one of 2 innocents below Barb. 2 criminals neighboring Nick is Eric's neighbor. So we know that Tom is an innocent because the criminal is among these 2. And we don't need this clue anymore. Now Tom is telling us that Eric has more innocent neighbors than me. Eric has more innocent neighbors than Tom. Tom has 2 innocent neighbors. Eric has 2 already. 1 more here. Now I don't need this clue anymore. And Aaron's telling us that I have more criminal neighbors than Tom. Tom has 1 criminal neighbor, so Eric has to be a criminal too. And we don't need this clue anymore. Now Eric's telling us that exactly 1 coder has a criminal directly to the right of them. Where's this coder? Coder, Nick's a coder, and Tom is a coder. Right? Where else do we have a coder? Jane. We know that each of these, Tom and Nick, each of them have a different criminal or innocent to the right of them. So the other one left is Jane. Jane has and innocent to the right of her, because the criminal is here. So I don't need this clue anymore. And now Katie is telling us that exactly 2 of Xavier's 3 criminal neighbors also neighbor Sarah. Ooh, that's an interesting one, because Xavier is here. Xavier has 3 criminal neighbors. One of them is here. Among these 3 people, we have to have 2 other criminals. And we know that 2 of Xavier's 3 criminal neighbors neighbor Sarah. We know that Tom and Zoe have an equal number of innocent neighbors. That doesn't make sense, because exactly 2 of Xavier's 3 criminal neighbors also neighbor Sarah. Oh, Sarah's here. I was thinking about Zoe. So we know that Zoe is a criminal. And now Ruth has to be a criminal too. Right? Because of this clue. And Zoe has an equal number of innocent neighbors than Tom. So Xavier has to be a criminal too, because Sarah Now, what does Ruth tell us? That I have exactly 4 innocent neighbors. Okay. She has one among these 2, one here. That's 2, 3, 4. And Zoe is telling us that column B has more criminals than any other column. And column B has 3 criminals. So let's go start tagging. We know that these 2 have an innocent and a criminal. Ruth's telling us that she has exactly 4 innocent neighbors. So she has one here and one here. If Xavier is an innocent, and Sarah is a criminal and Larry is an innocent, Zoe still has the same number of innocent neighbors than Tom. And the same is true for Xavier being a criminal and Sarah an innocent. In any case, Larry has to be an innocent. How come? Oh, Tom and Zoe have... Tom has 2 innocent neighbors. That's right. Because there's an innocent among these 2. So Xavier and Sarah are innocent. And then Larry has to be a criminal. Okay. That's okay. I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. Exactly 2 of Xavier's 3 criminal neighbors also neighbor Sarah. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Now Larry's telling us that there's an odd number of criminals in column C. There can be 3 criminals. because that would be the same as column B, which has more than any other column, and there can be 2 because that wouldn't be odd. So we know that Gabe and Cheryl are innocent. Now, Sarah's telling us that you're always helping us out. I am. Thank you for appreciating that. David doesn't tell us anything either. Now Gabe. Gabe's telling us that there are exactly 2 innocents above Wanda. So Paul is innocent, Wanda is a criminal. And we don't need this anymore. Now Paul, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. Is that a song lyric? Wanda not telling us anything. Freya is one of 2 innocents below bar. We don't need this anymore. Now column B has more criminals than the other column, solves these 2 as innocents. That was quick. We got a dumb mistake there. Seems like every day we have just one slight misread. But that's okay. We're getting better and we're doing it quickly and it's just for fun, so no competition here. But yeah, if you watched up to here, thank you for watching and I'll see you tomorrow to hopefully get everything perfect.